Hi guys. You're recording? Yes. Okay. Hi guys. Welcome back to another video. I hope that you're doing really, really well. And in today's video, I'm going to be showing you and making sounds with 4 books. These are all books that I think I've shown them all here before, but I'm currently rereading all of them, and I always have like new things to say about old books and just maybe new things I've noticed and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to make a video, so I thought I'd use the books that I'm reading. Okay. I don't really know why I'm reading 1, 2, 3, 4, actually 5 books at the same time. It's not really good. But maybe it's kind of like a metaphor for 2020. But that's okay. So the first one that I'm rereading looks like this. And I apologize for any wind sounds that you may hear. If you know all my videos, you know that I have a big old brick fireplace right to my right, and whenever there's a lot of wind outside, it comes down the old chimney and into this room via the fireplace. So I wish I could control the weather, but I can't. Okay, so this book is called You Drive Me Crazy, and it's by a woman named Carol Matthews. And the cover says, "Falling in love can be a bumpy ride." And I always loved the cover of this book because of the really cute little keychain up here. So it has I think it's supposed to be like signaling like how her life is going at the moment, the main character. So she's got 2 beautiful little children. So I think they're like represented by this little bear. And then she has she's divorced, so she's trying to navigate. Actually, no, she's not divorced, sorry. Her husband has left her. Just out of the blue, he got up and left. So she's now a single mom. And she's trying her best. And she's trying her absolute best to make do with her situation. So, yeah, she has 2 little kids. The little keychain also has like tools, like a little wrench and a screwdriver, and that just shows that she's like the only person in the relationship trying to do everything. And it's yeah, it's a really good story. Kinda not explaining it very well, but that's okay. My beautiful little bookmark right here. And I'm only on page 56 for the second time. So yeah, she's her name's Anna Terry. And while she's visiting a divorce lawyer's office, she meets a man named, what's his last name? Nick Diamond, who is also going through a divorce. And his divorce is sad. His wife up and left him, and she was like a vegan fitness fanatic, and she up and left him for a butcher. So the two of them meet, Anna and Nick, and obviously start the relationship. But I won't spoil it if anyone happens to find this book in a thrift store like I did, or you can order it online as well if it sounds like something you'd like. It's really lighthearted, but it's also kind of serious at the same time. It's a good story. And the thing I like most about it, I think, is that it's written by Carol Matthews, who I believe, I'm pretty sure she's English. Does it say where she's from? I think I looked it up before. The story is set in England, so I think that's where she's from. This is the author. And I like that the humor in the book is very dry. Like it's I'd say it's quite different from humor that I'm used to, which is like the classic dry British humor, and I love it. I think it's so funny. Kind of like just very sarcastic humor. It's funny, especially the way that the main character interacts with her children. It's so adorable. It actually makes me smile when I'm reading it. I can't remember exactly what happened, so the last time I read it was quite a few years ago, so it's, aside from obviously like the big things, I can't really remember, so it's kind of like a new book again for me. The inside cover even says that Carol Matthews is an internationally best-selling author, and her unique sense of humor has won her legions of fans and critical acclaim throughout the world. When she's not writing novels and television scripts, she manages to find time to trek in the Himalayas, rollerblade in Central Park, take tea in China, and snooze in her garden shed in Milton Keynes. that's where the story takes place, Milton Keynes. Yeah, such a pretty name for a place. Yeah. I absolutely love rereading books. I think there's like two kinds of people in the world. Ones that hate rereading books or rewatching the same movies, but I love doing both of those things. Because if you love it, then why wouldn't you want to keep like reliving it? So. Okay. So this one, I haven't actually completely finished. I think I was 3/4 of the way done like 8 months ago or so, and then I stopped. So I'm starting from the beginning again because I was enjoying it so much. And this one is called The Matchmakers of Minnow Bay. Such a beautiful cover as well. So this is by Kelly Harms, and it says, the perfect feel-good read. Don't miss this delightful novel. And it says just like, again, like it's meant to be a little bit humorous, but it's also like just sad, and it's a really good story. So my old house is making weird sounds. Okay, so it's about this girl named Lily, and how old is she? I think she's like almost 30, late 20s or so, and she is a painter. Like it's in her blood. That's all she wants to do. She's never wanted to do any other career or do anything else other than paint. And she's really, really talented with painting too. So she's living in Chicago, in a really overpriced, crappy apartment, because she's a struggling painter. She's not making very much money. Whenever she does finish a painting, she sells it to her boyfriend, who owns an art gallery, and he sells the paintings to like really big buyers. So she comes home one day to find that she's getting evicted from her apartment because of a late payment on rent. And her boyfriend is kind of a jerk and says that you can't move in with me because we have a professional relationship and it would just make things awkward. So, as she's packing her apartment, kind of in a rush and a little bit angry, understandably, she finds this really old letter that she just kind of like threw into a drawer 10 years ago or so. It was a long time ago. And it was a letter telling her that she had to, I can't remember the word for it, but it was from a divorce lawyer telling her that she needed to like file the paperwork for her to finalize a divorce. And what had happened when she was really young and still in college, she went to Las Vegas and got drunk, and she married a guy that she met after one night So they immediately tried to annul it the next day, but life happened and 10 years passed by, and I guess she forgot to annul the marriage. So it turns out she's still married to this guy that she doesn't know anything about anymore. And she finds out that he's living in a little place called Minnow Bay. So she doesn't have anywhere to live. She doesn't have any money. So she packs all of her belongings into her little car and takes off in the middle of winter to travel from Chicago to this little town to not really do anything else other than find this guy and finalize their divorce, because she doesn't have anything else to do. So the story really picks up when she gets to this little town, and she stays in this adorable little lodge, bed and breakfast, and meets this amazing woman who runs it. And then she also ends up meeting another woman who runs an art gallery there. And it turns out that the woman sees some of her paintings and says, oh my god, you're incredible, you're so talented. And then she's like, do you have any idea how much I could sell your paintings for? And she's like, what are you talking about? They're not worth that much. My boyfriend sells them. And she's like, okay, well, you've been getting ripped off. Your boyfriend has been completely underpaying you for what they're worth. So it turns out that she shouldn't be a broke, struggling artist. She should actually be very wealthy. So yeah, it's when she leaves Chicago, goes to Minnow Bay, her whole life is basically starting over, and she's realizing all these amazing opportunities she has. And she meets her ex-husband, who I won't get into that, but obviously they're gonna fall in love. Yeah, it's just a really harmless, really sweet read, and I love it. It's right up my alley. Okay. So this book also has a bookmark in it, but I'm probably gonna start again from the beginning. Anyways, I have this beautiful bookmark in there that says the best is yet to come. I love bookmarks. They're just so fun. So this book is by Nora Roberts, who, she doesn't even need an introduction. Nora Roberts doesn't even need an introduction. She's just Nora Roberts. And it has one of the most beautiful covers I think I've ever seen. Look at that. And it's called Dance Upon the Air. And it's actually book 1 of 3, but I have yet to find the second and third. It's one of these books that's right up my alley because it has romance and it has kind of like magic in it, which I really love. But so it's set on, and I don't know if this is actually a real place or if it's fictional, but it's set on a remote rocky island off the coast of Massachusetts called Three Sisters Island. I have to look that up to see if it's real. But so it's about like witches, and but it's not like corny or anything. It's set in the modern day, and I haven't got into much of like the actual witch story yet because I didn't get that far before I wanted to start rereading it. But the start of it like just drew me right in because it's about a woman who is on the run from her husband, who was like very, very abusive, and the only way that she could get away from him was to, I think she faked her own death and then gave herself a new identity and went on the run across the states, and she ended up in Massachusetts. And when she gets to this little island, and I always picture it as Vancouver Island, I don't know why, but she gets there and she's like clearly running out of money and doesn't know what to do. So she walks into the first like little store that she comes upon, which is this beautiful little bookstore and cafe, and it's just right up my alley, like a little bookstore cafe. And she goes in and looks around, and she overhears the owner arguing with her head chef who works in the cafe, who says that she's leaving abruptly for New York, so she has to leave her with no cook for the cafe. So the woman bravely asks, like, I'll be your head cook. I'm a good cook. I can do it. I have catering experience. And her name's Nell. And she gets the job. And the woman who owns the bookstore, her name is Mia. And Mia, I believe, is like one of the witches, but they're good they're like good witches. And Mia knows that Nell is some sort of a witch. I don't know the whole story yet, but I have a feeling that maybe Mia is like reincarnated. I could be totally wrong, but oh no, Nell. I think Nell is reincarnated or something. Something magical is going on. So yeah, it's about her and moves to this little island and gets a job and starts to love it there. And then she meets the island's sheriff, whose name is Zach Todd. And he is just like immediately drawn to Nell because she's really beautiful and very mysterious. And yeah, it's just a classic love story. And I'm really enjoying the writing of it. It's really well written. Very descriptive, like I like my stories to be. Yeah. Okay, and then lastly, I think this is the biggest book. Another gorgeous cover. This is The Gold on Fog Island. And this book was amazing. This is by Mariette Lindstein. And this actually took me a little while to get into. I think it kind of had a little bit of a slow start, but that's probably just a completely subjective opinion. But sorry, my recorder was full, so I had to delete my old videos. I mean my card and the camera. What was I saying? Okay, I think I was saying it was a little slow to get into at first, but once I got into it, oh my goodness, this book was scary. And the reason it was so scary was because it's a true story, or it's based on a true story. And the author, Mariette Lindstein, she went through the entire experience of joining a group of people who turned out to be a cult, and she took a lot for her to escape and get out of it. And that's what was so scary about this book, is it's very, very realistic. I think everyone has this idea in their head that that could never happen to me. My head is on too straight, or my head is on too tight. Is that the saying? Or I'm just too smart. I would never be able to get caught up in a cult and get brainwashed and manipulated. But you can. I think everyone has the potential to have something like that happen to them, and you actually get to see and read and learn from the beginning to the end how she actually got caught up in it. And it makes you kind of step back and think, wow, that could actually happen to me if I was in that situation. It's crazy. It's scary. It would never happen to me because I would never be in the situation that this person was in. But in another life or something, if I was, I can totally see how it happens. Yeah. It's scary. It's a scary thing that actually happens to way too many people in the world. Actually says here, let me read it to you. So, Mariette Lindstein was born and raised in Halmstad on the west coast of Sweden. At the age of 20, she joined the Church of Scientology and worked for the next 25 years at all levels of the organization, including at its international headquarters outside of Los Angeles. Mariette left the church in 2004 and is now married to Dan Kuhn, an author and artist. They live in a forest outside Halmstad with their 3 dogs. The Cult of Fog Island is her debut novel and was first published in Sweden, where it won the Best Crime Debut at the Specsavers Crime Time Awards. Mariette now dedicates her life to writing and lecturing to warn other people about the dangers of cults and cult mentality. So it's basically about young college-aged woman named Sophia. And one day at school, this kind of weird, very rich, very charming person comes and gives this weird lecture on how badly people are treating themselves, pretty much. It's really weird. But he has this way of making people think that he's saying a lot when he's basically saying nothing. He's just using a lot of fancy words. And she's dazzled and encouraged to visit his headquarters on Fog Island. And Sophia is struck by the beautiful mansion by the sea, the gardens, and the sense of peace. So as summer gives way to winter, and the dense fog from which the island draws its name sets in, all contact with the mainland is severed. No phones are allowed, electric fences surround the grounds, and Sophia begins to realize that no one ever leaves Fog Island. So yeah, it starts out as this beautiful, tranquil kind of holiday resort where they're encouraged to get rid of all technology and no phones or computers. And at first it's kind of okay, well, I understand we're here for peace of mind, but then he just slowly starts to manipulate everybody. And I don't want to give anything away just because this book is so good. The leader just slowly turns into a monster, pretty much, and has a way of abusing everybody who is there with him into thinking that he is the supreme being of them all, and everything that they're doing is either right or wrong, and if they do something wrong, they start to get punished, and it's really weird. But then he has a way of manipulating them into thinking that he's not doing anything wrong to them in a cult. So it's very scary and it's very well written. And if you're looking for a scary book, then I recommend this one. And a lot of I was reading an interview with the author, and she said a lot of what she put in this book is based on everything that happened to her while in the cult that she was in. A lot of it is obviously fiction that she wrote for entertainment purposes, but a lot of the experiences that she had are in this book as well. And it's just, you can't even imagine what people are capable of. Yeah, definitely not for young people. This is an adult book. And then lastly, I'm reading a book on my phone because I've been wanting to read it for a long time, but I haven't been able to find it anywhere. In used bookstores, I mean. So I got it on my little Kindle app. And I can't get the first page up, but yeah, it's Me Before You. And this was made into a movie a few years ago. And it stars, I don't know her first name, but it's the girl who played don't even know if I'll be able to finish it. But it's about a girl in a little town in England who, her and her family are struggling quite a bit financially. And, because they're in a recession, so there's just no jobs available around for work. So one of the only jobs that she can find is an ad that was put in at a work agency by a woman who wants kind of like a caregiving role for her son, but not a caregiver. It's more like a companion for her son. And her son was in a terrible accident, and he is now a quadriplegic, so he can't move his arms or his legs. And basically, like, it's such a sad story. So this book is quite dark. But I loved the movie. I saw the movie when it came out, and I really wanted to read the book. But it is really sad. It's a very, very sad story, and I'm actually not sure. I might not be able to finish it. Yeah. It's called Me Before You. Okay. So, hope you found those books interesting. And I hope you